Can you win a Mario Kart 8 Cup without pressing the gas button? I decided to try. Not being able to press the gas button means that I only have two ways to progress through the tracks: driving in reverse and using items. While being limited to these options is definitely going to be harder than just playing the game normally, I honestly thought that I would be able to win pretty easily at 50cc. That is, until I realized that if you face backwards for too long, the Kido will grab you and put you back on track facing forward, making this challenge much harder. Another thing I realized is that even when using mushrooms, I couldn't drift because that requires hitting the gas button. I messed around on Baby Park for a bit to get the feel of driving backwards, and discovered that in order to prevent Lakitu from grabbing me, I had to weave back and forth across the track, slowing me down quite a bit. I also remember that I could look behind me, which made reversing into items a lot easier because I could actually see them. After quitting out of a couple of races, I decided to try for real and just attempt the whole cup, no matter how the first race went. I chose to attempt the Crossing Cup, because I thought I had the best chance of doing well in Baby Park. I loaded into the race and began reversing. My main strategy was to reverse, weaving back and forth until I got to an item, and then just reversing straight down the course until Lakitu turned me around, thus being able to use the item while facing forward and catching up to the other racers. The item boxes are pretty close in Baby Park, so I was usually able to get 3 or 4 items and move forward with those until I had to start reversing again. The item boxes also move around the track, so sometimes I would just wait in front of one until it came to me instead of having to reverse to get to it. One annoying thing is that you get a lot of stars when you're in last place, and those are useless because they don't actually make you move forward, they just make you faster if you're moving forward. Things started out pretty good. I could usually get up to like 8th or 9th place with these items before dropping down to last when I had to reverse again, and then get back up a couple places. This cycle continued for most of the race until the 5th lap. I managed to get all the way up to 3rd place on the 5th lap, but the problem with that is I stopped getting useful items. I did get a Piranha Plant while in 5th place, and this is when I realized that the item actually propels you forward without needing to press the gas button. After the Piranha Plant ran out, I fell all the way back to last place. Right before the 7th and final lap, I got mushroom after mushroom and managed to get from last place all the way to 5th, by far the best I've done so far. I then made my way to the second race, Cheese Lane. While I knew getting anything but last place on this track would be very difficult, I at least wanted to make sure I could actually finish the track. Cheese Lane has quite a lot of turns and bends, so I found myself just going straight through the off-road quite a lot. I managed to finish the first lap without too much trouble, but found myself in a bit of trouble on the second lap. After making this jump, I landed on the other side with only a crazy 8. I immediately just used everything to get the mushroom boost, and then reversed my way to the glide ramp. This is where I learned that you need to be facing forwards when using a glide ramp, otherwise your character will just boost off it the way that you're facing. I tried hitting it at different angles, but I was unable to fly. I then just started reversing to get an item box, but realized that since I made a jump to get here, I was stuck with no way to continue the race, so I had to quit out. I know that Cheese Lane is beatable because I finished one lap, but I would have to make sure that I have enough items to make it to this part of the map the next time I attempt it. Hey, real quick, most of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you're new or you've watched the videos and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It just takes a couple seconds and it would really mean a lot. Okay, back to the video. I changed my kart loadout to one with a bit more traction because I was off-roading a lot and my speed doesn't really matter, and then I restarted the Crossing Cup. Baby Park started off about the same as the last time, with me reversing until I got some items and getting up a few places before falling back to last place again. On the 6th lap, I got extremely lucky. I started off by getting a triple mushroom in last place. Off of this single item at the start of the second to last lap, I managed to propel myself forward without needing to turn around and reverse all the way through the end of the race. Not only that, but I somehow managed to get first place. This required getting lucky enough to continue to get mushrooms and also use those mushrooms to grab more item boxes. If I had gotten a single star instead of mushrooms, I probably would not have gotten first here. So, now going to Cheese Lane, I had to be extra careful to not soft on myself because this run was looking doable. I slowly made my way to the first jump and made sure to get enough items before going over it. I had a mushroom to get over the jump and a bullet bill to get me over the glide ramp. I finished the first lap while only briefly not being in last place and made my way to the jump again. This time, I just used a bullet bill right before the jump, which got me through to the glide ramp with no problem. I managed to get all the way to 6th place with the bullet bill and a golden mushroom, but went back to last after running out of items. I got a star and a golden mushroom right before the final jump, and this is where I think I could have gotten a little better than 12th. Instead of using the star and reversing to get another item, I went ahead and just used the star and golden mushroom to get over the glide ramp, leaving me with no items on the last stretch of the race. When I finally got a bullet bill so I didn't have to reverse all the way to the finish line, it stopped me right before the end, so I had to reverse again anyways. But hey, at least I finished the race this time. The next race was Wild Woods. I immediately thought I would have a better chance of doing well here than Cheese Lane because the item boxes seemed much closer. I could pretty easily get from one set to another with a little luck of what items I got. There were also some speed boosts near the end which let me go forward with just one mushroom, and a water slide that moves you forward as long as you're actually in the water. These led to me being able to stay pretty close to the other racers for most of the race. However, the gap grew about halfway through the second lap, and I was never able to catch up, leaving me in last place at the end of the race. The final race was Animal Crossing. This race did not go very well. It had a glide ramp, and the nearest item boxes were pretty far away. Luckily, I could reverse to the items so I wasn't soft locked, but it still took quite a while to get back to these items. You would think that after having to reverse to the items on the first lap, I would be more mindful of my item usage so I wouldn't have to do it again on the next 2 laps. But I didn't learn, and I had to go back to the items on literally all 3 laps. I finished the race in last place, and I'm pretty sure I got lapped by every other racer at least once. I finished the Crossing Cup with 18 points, getting 10th place overall. With Lakitu preventing me from facing the wrong way for too long, I honestly don't think it's possible to win a whole cup without pressing the gas button. But what if I tried using custom items? I set the items to only ones that make you go forward. All 3 types of mushroom, bullet bill, and piranha plant. I could have also set Crazy 8 and Boo since they can technically make you go forward, but I didn't think they would help me all that much so I left them out. I decided to just try all the races in the Crossing Cup again to see how custom items would compare, and I loaded in the Baby Park. Baby Park honestly felt pretty much the same because of how close close the items are, but I only managed to get 9th place this time. Not a great start. Cheese landed felt a lot better because every item I got helped out at least a little bit, and it managed to get all the way up to 3rd place on the last leg of the race. Unfortunately, I ran out of items just before the last set of item boxes, and I ended up getting 9th place again. I hovered around 9th place for the majority of Wild Woods, but on the last lap, I made a costly error. I was flying while using a golden mushroom with a bullet bill as my next item, and as I landed, I barely went off the edge. I panicked and hit my item button, using my bullet bill as I flew off, which used up my bullet bill but gave me none of the benefits of it. If I hadn't messed up here, I think I could have easily gotten at least 8th place, but I ended up getting last place because of this. Animal Crossing had a similar story. The first 2 laps looked pretty good with me hovering around the middle of the pack for a lot of time, and then, on the last lap, I got very unlucky. I was in 8th place riding a bullet bill over a glide ramp when I perfectly followed Waluigi, missing all of the items in the air. I landed out of the bullet bill item list and ended up getting last place because of it. This cup ended with me only getting 10 points and being last place overall. While the items did help me finish races faster, it also helped out the other racers just as much, so I ended up doing worse than my non-custom item attempt. So, is it possible to win a cup in Mario Kart 8 without hitting the gas button? With Lakitu preventing you from facing backwards for too long, I honestly don't think so. It is, however, possible to win a race by getting really lucky on Baby Park. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, consider subscribing. And with that, thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.